Joining us now is a man that knows how to break down a football game for sure, and certainly a rivalry game. He's played in them. He's won some. He's the always fabulous Riley Nelson. Riley, welcome to Rivalry Week amidst Big 12 chaos. How you feeling?
As optimistic as ever and as desperate as ever to not let the streak get to the double digits.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Jarom and I were just discussing the impact of what we think is going to be a Big 12 invitation, maybe as early as late this week, if not early next week. Is that blanket of Power 5 inclusion enough of a comfort to make how you feel about the win or loss against Utah any different?
No, to me, it has the opposite effect. There's more urgency around this game because I don't know what the new Big 12 or their schedules, what non-conferences look like. I feel like with BYU being independent and Utah in the Pac-12 with what's currently a 9-game schedule, I feel like that already with BYU being free, more free than with a conference to be able to schedule a non-conference opponent or a team like Utah and basically be able to say, hey, take your pick of weeks. Now all of a sudden you get to a conference. And if the rivalry becomes more intermittent, to me, that's all the more urgency to, obviously we have to claw our way back from the recent performance. Forget the streak. Just since 2000, it hasn't been great for BYU. So we got to claw our way back to even out the score that way. But priority number one is just get the streak over with and get a win chalked up in the column this year. Like, get it done sooner than later. There's no time to waste.
Yeah, I think I'm in defense mechanism mode. That way I don't get hurt too much emotionally if it gets to 10, where it's like, hey, Big 12, who cares about that? But BYU Utah obviously matters so much. It matters so much. Yet it feels like because BYU has this pending Big 12 invite that, hey, there's bigger and better things. Riley, we're starting to think like Utah has the last decade, which is, well, it's the in-state game. It could get weird quick.
Most definitely. And listen, I am fully aware of all the great opportunities and future that lays out joining a conference like the Big 12. But I also was one of the ones leading the charge, making fun of all the Utah fans who, when their team would fall short of their ultimate goal, which is winning football games and conference championships, wearing the Pac-12 T-shirts, putting a Pac-12 insignia on the back of your card. So, to me, conference affiliation, it's not just behind, team affiliation. It's sixth. To me, the most important is what do you do on the field? And especially against your rival, we can compare who's got the bigger budgets or who's got the better recruiting staff or who's got, heck, we could talk about our success in men's and women's cross country, but we all know what rules. And it is who wins that game, who wins the holy war year in, year out. And unfortunately, the recent string of luck for BYU hasn't been so good. So I want to turn those favors and get it back, get the momentum going back in BYU's side.
Okay, Riley, Utah is a 7-point favorite coming into Provo. Not a shocker. They're ranked number 18 in the coaches poll, number 21 in the AP poll. According to most experts, they're supposed to win this game. So the big question for BYU is, aside from scoring more points, how do the Cougars flip the script and end the 9-game losing streak? What's the key?
The key is to not allow them to have any big deflationary play, right? I think back to the first game ever called was BYU Utah. It was week 1. It was 2019. And in that game, BYU goes for it early on 4th and they score first, and then they stop Utah on 4th down. And then all of a sudden, Zach gets tripped up as he's falling down. He tries to check it down. Francis Bernard, a former Cougar, by the way, steps in front of the pass, runs it back for a pick 6 early on in the second quarter. All the air came out of the stadium. And it was just, from that point, it was like, here we go again. And whether it was all the turnovers, and I believe that was like the 2016 game, or the starting off the Vegas Bowl matchup, right, with 5 turnovers in the first half, or going back to my year, it's a miss back all the way to 2012, where a miscommunication, a snap goes overhead that they pick up and run for the touchdown. If we can just avoid the catastrophic deflating, the plays that deflate the team, that deflate the fans and deflate the stadium, that's step number one. And to your point, Jaron, I know that sounds like a defense mechanism, but that to me has been the difference in games is big, huge momentum swinging plays that either get Rice Eccles completely jazzed up or get Lavelle Edwards Stadium completely, deflated. Avoid that, number one. And then the second is it doesn't need to happen in all three phases, but it needs to happen in one phase. BYU needs to get one of those plays on their side, meaning we need a defense, special teams, or offensive play that just gets fans out of their seats, gets the stadium rocking, gets everybody in the stadium believing. Look, the players believe no matter what. As a player on the sideline, you believe, you're in there, you're fighting. But I'd be lying if I didn't say it doesn't help when it is palpable when the stadium believes it too. It's also palpable when you're doing your best to believe, things aren't going your way, and you can feel that the 65,000 there supporting you in your own home stadium, they're there and they're going to cheer and their support, but they don't really believe you can get it done. That is a palpable change. So I know I'm talking about like the environment, a lot of intangibles and a lot of things that aren't really quantifiable, but I'm here to tell you they are real. And if BYU can control those or get those elements of this football game going in their favor, I like their chances.
That's a really interesting point because I think in 2018 we felt like, oh, BYU's up 27-7 with 16 minutes to go. This is ending. So even if BYU gets a lead, I think we're still a little hesitant to be like, hey, you still got to finish, right? This isn't over. And then I want to ask you about that part too. As the players, Kalani Sitake's done a nice job, Aaron Roderick as well this week, of saying, listen, most of our guys have played in one or two of these games. They didn't play last year, and our seniors, haven't played them 4 times. They've played them 2 or 3. Is BYU playing the Utes and history here, or how as a player can you possibly avoid the weight of the streak?
You cannot. In my opinion, you have to embrace it. They are, that was very well said. They are playing history. They are playing a history that I'll admit. So it's interesting. Back when I was there from 2009 to 12, we were playing against history as well. However, it was more favorable history. Obviously, Urban Meyer came in and there was that, but then John Beck clawed it back in 2006. We had the recent history when I joined the program in 2009. Things did not go well in 2008. But it didn't matter. That game in Rice Eccles Stadium in 2008 got really ugly because you had 4th and 18 in 2007 and you had Beck to Harleen in 2006, right? And even though prior to that you had some, you had the Urban Meyer where it wasn't as good, but even back, it was still recent memory. The Lavelle's last game with, Doman on the quarterback sneak. So you had all this positive mojo that was within a decade of you playing them that you could rely on and help generate you. These guys have none. They have no ammunition going back more than a decade. And so they are playing against history, but rather than that should not be something that causes nerves. It should not be something that makes them less confident. If anything else, it should be more motivating. If I'm on this team in 2021 and I'm a leader and I'm trying to help craft a narrative for my teammates, it's that, hey, we get to be the team that everybody will remember that broke the 9-0, that right before we went into a 2-year hiatus and an uncertain future with, going separate conference ways, we stopped the bleeding and got things rolling back in BYU's. We will be remembered forever as that team, as opposed to, back when I was playing, we remember still the 2009 and the 2007, but there wasn't the level of desperation. The level of desperation has risen so high that if this team can get it done this year, they will be remembered in the annals of history in regards to this rivalry forever.
Clip this off, play it for the team, play that part, that answer
amazing.
For the team today, because it's so true. They can be the team that ended the streak. Like this team in BYU history may be remembered as one of the last independent teams or something. I don't know. That they feel like a team that has a tough schedule, and who knows, in the bigger sphere of things, they may not be remembered for the whole season. We'll see if they do something that we remember. But if they win this game, they're remembered forever. They'll be remembered forever. That's a great point.
Riley Nelson is with us on BYU Sports Nation. Okay, Riley, you talked about the atmosphere, changing things, getting the fans wild and raucous in Provo, helping them keep the foot on the gas. That absolutely is a major factor. In terms of matchups on the field, where does BYU have an advantage, if at all, against Utah?
It was funny, right before you went into break, Jarom was talking about no defense ever says, let's go out and play passive. But I mean, you kind of got that sense. You got the sense that the defensive strategy against Arizona, obviously they didn't pose as big of a threat, or at least it didn't seem like BYU thought they posed as big as a threat, because they were content to let Gunnar Cruz throw the ball into the flats to wide open guys, have them catch it at 4, fall forward for 3. And they were banking on the fact that Arizona would not be disciplined enough to continue to go to that well. Well, it ended up that Gunnar Cruz threw for 340, so you gave up yards, you gave up some touchdowns, you maybe let them creep back into the game, although I would argue that game was never in jeopardy despite some tense moments in the second half. And he eventually, they were proved right. Coach Satake or Coach Tuiaki, it proved right, because when they were coming in and they needed a score, they got impatient, they forced the ball in the end zone, and it was picked off in a big way that sealed the game for BYU, eventually led to BYU being able to seal the game. Against Utah, I like that same approach in the passing game. Force Charlie Brewer, who's a guy that likes to push the ball down the field. He likes to get big chunks with his arm. He was used to doing it under Matt Rule at Baylor. You saw him they're trying to do a little bit of that, even though it's against Ludwig and Whittingham's nature. They let him push the ball on some deep crossers, and he threw a couple, 50-50 balls down the field. But the key, so I'm okay with them in obvious passing situations playing bend, don't break. But in the run game, they cannot let them get momentum. If defensively BYU allows Utah to get momentum in the run game, then it's going to be tough, because then they can have their pick. Weber State stayed in that football game by tampering or keeping Utah's effectiveness in the run game down. Once Utah was able to get momentum in the run game, then it all opened up, and that's how the game got away from Weber State. BYU is on a different, they're on a different level than Weber State, so I'm not comparing them, but I'm comparing, strategy to strategy. So they have to be aggressive in stopping the run, and I think they can get away with bend, don't break in the pass game. So there's on that matchup. Offensive to defensively, I think Jaron is trying to be smart. Obviously, the history, it's not distant history of those mistakes that he suffered, both when he got out and ran against South Florida and Utah State. But there were a lot of opportunities where he could have hurt Arizona even more than he did with his legs. And now you probably don't need Jaron to rush for 80 yards to beat Arizona. In fact, we saw that you didn't need that. But against Utah, if those opportunities are there, meaning if they don't spy Jaron, or if you don't force Utah into a position to have to bring an extra defender out of coverage and into the box to help defend against quarterback run, then to me that will be a huge missed opportunity. So said shortly, the matchup that I'm most excited for BYU is the QB run game, whether it's designed or whether it's scrambled, because that's going to put immense pressure on what is a pretty good Utah defense. I think Utah's going to come up. I think they feel confident in playing man coverage, which is going to allow them to put an extra man in the box against Tyler Algier, who I know that they feel is a significant threat. The way you take some of the pressure off Tyler Algier, and as a quarterback, you create more opportunities for you in the pass game. If you have the skill, like Jaron Hall has the skill of using your legs, you get out and do it.
Riley, great stuff. What a preview of BYU Utah, as Jarom said. Clip off that motivational moment.
Go.
Play it for all the fans. Play it for all the players, and let's go. Great to talk with you, man. Thanks so much.
Not just another game, fellas. We've got to get it done this year. Here we go.
All right, here's to ending the streak. Riley Nelson with us on BYU Sports Nation.